What a going people, Mr. B here, and this today we gonna have a sort of a mixed bag of a program. Um, whole heap of things are going. We wanna use the opportunity to sort of play catch up, if you will, in terms of the newsmakers of the past week, um, particularly both at home and abroad. At home meaning Jamaica, and we're going to look at some of the issues taking place right here in Fort Lauderdale, in Florida. Um, of course, as you would be well aware, uh, Jamaica is gearing up, if you will, for its general elections 2025. And I guess we are all anxious. The two, two major political parties, the People's National Party, trying to wrest the reins of government from the current administration, Jamaica Labour Party, and there are a number of issues that have been dominating the discussion as we lead up to that. We're going to take a look at some of those issues as well. Some pop culture issues we've been following. There is a whole heap of sports that is on top of us, and we're gonna take a look at some of those. Of course, there is cricket around the place. There is the West Indies entertaining Australia back in the Caribbean, and in fact, the second Test match should be underway right now, and we're gonna take a look at that. There is also the Test match between England and India that is taking place, a test series rather, between England and India over there in the United Kingdom. And of course, India having won the first test, having lost the first test rather, is trying to play catch up against the hosts, England. We're going to take a look at that as the second test match now enters its third day. And then there is the track season that has opened up now, Jamaica having held its national trials to select its team for the upcoming World Championships later on this year. We're going to take a look at that. There are some additional track meets going on. There's a Prefontaine Classic, one of the big track and field classics of the season, and this opens over there in Oregon tomorrow. So we're gonna take a look at some of those as well, and of course we're gonna look at some other general issues, if you will. Of course, this particular telecast today is brought to you through the Yard Media's site, and of course we're gonna single out my current publication. We just released this book last week, Thursday, and the book Sheila 2.0, Unbroken Sheila 2.0, which traces the story of Sheila Salmon. We're gonna, intersperse little tidbits about this book as we, move along with today's program. So I just wanna again ask you to stay with us as we have a bit of stuff that we're gonna try to cover, and invite you to support our stream by patronizing our website and our products as well. And we're gonna tell you a little bit more about the Unbroken novel, Sheila 2.0. We're gonna talk about that as well. But first and foremost, let's take a look at what's going on around the world, what's going on, particularly back home in Jamaica. We're gonna take a look at some of the what is making the news headlines, um, you know, down there, and think now you will be aware that the country has been grappling with its own crime problems over the years, and this past the year to date so far, a lot has been happening as the current administration tries to curb the long tail of violence, in particular murder in Jamaica. But while they've been having some successes, there are, it still don't mean that we're out of the woods. We see the newspaper talking about two people killed at a candlelight vigil overnight last night in Jamaica in St. Mary. Um, and of course, where we want to just take a look at hopefully the police can, you know, the stay apace of the problem as we try to contain the violence. It's a big talking point. There is a report of two cops who were shot at the Central Village police station while they were on duty. Um, it it it's The understanding is that they were accidentally shot. Apparently, firearm. One of the officers' firearm went off. I don't know how you explain that. Policeman who's supposed to have whole heap of gun training, and you know, we end up with things. Thank God there are no fatalities. Um, and just a myriad of different issues. Of course, there is the ongoing argument in Jamaica about corruption. We're going to take a look at that as well. In particular, the issue of the the Financial Investigative Division and the backing and forthing on that, because it looks like this is going to be an embarrassing situation for the current administration because of how the whole thing has been handled. And it certainly is not, there's no let up, and we shouldn't have any let up in situations like that. One of the things about a democracy is that, we love to beat our chest and talk about ourselves being a democratic society. But one of the things about a democracy is the ability to entertain views that you may not necessarily agree with. It may, people whose views you may not share, but at least one of the principles that we should all learn, to live by is that, the world is a preponderance of different views, comes from different people. And so we may not agree, but here's what we should agree on, that people, are entitled to their views, their opinions. Remember, we are, all from different circumstances. We come from the rock, but we grow up differently. And so we have different exposures. We need to get out of the divisive mode that has characterized our existence over the years. And, hopefully, if you stay with me with this program and the way how we generate discussion, hopefully we can all learn from each other. Now, I have on my own Facebook page, we we have been entertaining some wide-ranging discussions on a multitude of different issues. One of them is the Chongate scandal. That's what I want to call it. Um, the Dennis Chong has been appointed as the top man at the Financial Investigative Division. But it would appear that it is not a fait accompli. because Mr. Chong it seems to be a case where Mr. Chong, in taking up that post, there has been the developments around it is beginning to embarrass the government and drag the country's good name into the mud as we take a look at that. So the Mr. Chong, who was the head of the general secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, um, took over and a good friend of the prime minister, and it looked like, it appears from the way how the whole thing has been going, because the Ministry of Finance, basically, there was a statement that they issued, public statement, with respect to the whole development surrounding this appointment, and they just, earlier this week pulled back the statement, basically, through the minister of information, what's her name, Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, who had basically issued her own position. She said the 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 interview panel for Mr. Chong removed the requirement after conversations, and there is no documentation of these decisions. And so a whole heap of things going on that is kind of beginning to smell not so good for the administration. And again, remember, we're in a situation where people are concerned about the level of corruption within the country, and this is not a good smelling situation. So again, just one of the stories that we're following. Now, today too is 4th of July. It is America's birthday. 200 odd years. Imagine a country almost 300-year old, and is only 30 or so years out of those nearly 300 years that this country is not involved in a war. But we see a war broke out down in Israel, between Israel and Iran, and but notwithstanding, for those who are supporting, you love to wave the American flag and claim your American citizenship, particularly those of us who are from the Caribbean, Jamaica specifically. Happy independence to you, to America. We would hope that after you've been at this thing for such a long time, that as a country, we would have learned more. We learn how to live with each other. The country is as divided as ever. Racism is now front and center. We have a set of politicians who don't really care about whether, basically I highlight the fact that, as the thing with America is that the country is a white people country. I mean, 60% of the population is white people, and they want the place to be reflective of that. I'm not going to jump down in that discussion, but it's important that we understand that we all have a position on something, because guess what? If you don't stand for anything, you fall for. If you stand for nothing, you fall for anything at all. My view is that we need to educate ourselves, sensitize ourselves as we operate in the diaspora. Again, to the current administration in Jamaica is tending to lean heavily on the diaspora. A lot of the conversations going on there is about, we're trying to highlighting the positives of the country, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let me make that clear. I would be dishonest if I don't get current administration, it's credit. Things are moving in a direction that augurs well in terms of the positivity. The economy, the fundamentals of the economy looks like they are getting even more and more solid. However, the big problem is that the majority of Jamaicans are not feeling the benefits of this positive. Beat the chest 62% debt to GDP ratio, a big difference. Some of you come from almost a 50% reduction in the decadent level that this was when the current administration took office all the way back in 2016 or 17 thereabouts, right? And so you have to give them the credit because they are the ones with the steerings in them hand over the course of the period, and they have managed to to, to drive the economy into this direction. The the benefits, for those who don't understand, a debt to GDP ratio says that if your debt to GDP ratio is 100%, it means that every dollar where you earn, you have to take it pay back debt. We were 120%, so we owe far more than we were producing. And what it means is that based on our the level of earnings of the country, for every dollar earned, we were paying out 20 cents more. 120% means that for every dollar, you have to pay $1.20 back for debt and other obligations. The current administration has cut that to 60%. So give them the credit, because at the end of the day, this is the kind of discussion that we want to have. Now, what are the benefits of that? A 60% debt to GDP ratio now means that for every dollar that you earn, only you can use 40 cents of that dollar to create more opportunities within the economic and social space. In other words, 60 cents are pay debt, 40 cents can go towards infrastructure and other developments that is to the benefit of the masses of the Jamaican population. So get the wellness administration them due. The PNP, I'm certain, will tell you that they were the ones who created that foundation. But my position with that is, while there may be merit to that argument, I know you are the government, and so we need to provide that. We need to acknowledge, give the credit where it's due. So the wellness administration has done well in terms of that. But there are other issues. So, the third term conversation is what is, on top of us. And my view is, if for those who say that the government deserve a third term, let's provide the arguments to support that. Let's do that, right? And let's stop this cut gains and we tear down one another because we have different political views. If you feel that them don't deserve to have get a third term, there's nothing wrong with that. Just let's have a conversation to support why you don't feel that. Let's carry the conversation. And of course, this is not a program I me alone want to talk. More I want to call you. 954-274-8177. Let me leave this up for a little bit. And you can call me on WhatsApp. So we can hear your views on this issue, right? This is a program where we want to entertain different points of views. All we ask is that you be respectful, and if you ever make particular claims, that you have the information to substantiate whatever claims you are prepared to make. So, let me make sure say we we're up and running. Give me 1 second here with that. All right. So, Carla, make we have a conversation on that. Where how you see that. Let me just connect the Bluetooth here. Tascam, Yep. So we're good with the calling, right? If you feel that you want to make an input, feel free to call. Again, this program is brought to you today by the Yard Media Inc. And the Jamaica Mix. And our sponsor for the program today is the Sheila 2.0, the book Unbroken Sheila 2.0. And I am going to just to give you a little snippet of what the book is about. Let me grab.
Sheila Salmon sat by the window of her constant Spring Road office, overlooking the bustling mix of foot and vehicular traffic in the streets below. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden hue over the city that had been her home all her life. She traced the rim of her coffee cup with her finger, lost in thought. The decision before her was monumental: how to make the best use of the proceeds of the monetary settlement that she had received. By any stretch of the imagination, this was a huge amount of money, opening her third designer clothing store in a city where dreams were more often deferred than realized. Her thoughts wandered back to that fateful day at Outpost and Company Limited, where she had worked diligently for years. The internal legal issues for which she had almost no involvement had been presented as the reason for her dismissal. Her attorneys were able to put the pieces together and determined the real reason the company had found itself out on a slender limb and needed a scapegoat. And while the just 7.6 million settlement she had received after legal expenses was substantial, it had come at a high emotional cost.
All right. So that, just to give you a little snippet of my most recent publication, Sheila Unbroken. We actually launched this book last week, Thursday, at the Veterans Park here in Fort Lauderdale, Northwest, 7600 Northwest 58th Street in Lauderhill. To a nice little, nice discussion and good crowd. And, you can pick up copies of this book right here on this program. You can go to our website at yardmedia.com, and you can be sure to grab yourself a copy. Again, what is the book about? What's Sheila? First of all, I believe that as Jamaicans, we have a responsibility to tell our own stories. And this, although being a fiction novel, looks at the life in Jamaica through the eyes of a young girl, Jamaican in the 1970s, through the first novel, which was called Sheila, the Girl from the Lane. Unbroken is essentially a sequel to this novel, and it looks at Sheila Salmon's life in the 1980s to 1990s period, as she decides to take advantage of the opportunities presented to her as a young Jamaican woman who found herself now with the economic means to open her own business, to lay a foundation for herself and her two adolescent kids. A really nice, I don't want to call it a feel-good story, but it is. But it speaks to the experiences. It's the kind of experience that almost all of us as Jamaicans have had these types of experience, mixed bag experiences in our upbringing as we go. So, I'm encouraging you, check out the book. You can also send me a text message, WhatsApp, or on Facebook, and you can get yourself a signed copy. Also, the book is available on Amazon.com, and it's also available on Kindle. So, check that out. And no, let's go back. So we were talking about the whole business of the upcoming general election. Latest polls out, Don Anderson polls, is indicating that the People's National Party, in terms of their responses to that poll conducted earlier this year, it's about what? They're showing about a 32%, as opposed to 29% preference by the electors who were polled by the Don Anderson group. Now, the margin of error in the poll is 3%. So, what you could say is that if, based on the margin of error, the difference between both the PNP and the JLP is nebulous, but it's not exactly correct, because what the margin of error is saying is that it is plus or minus 3%. So if you take 3% off of the PNP's 32% polling, it means, and with the JLP at 29%, it means that you add that to the JLP, it means that they have a potential chance of winning of the same 3%. In other words, it also worked the other way, that it's plus or minus 3%. So the PNP have a 3% statistical advantage. Also means that at 32%, it could also be 35%, because it's a plus or minus. The same thing is due for the JLP. 29%, 29% could also be translated as 26% if you take off 3% for them 29, or 32% if you add the 3%. But so, it's a very confounding way that statisticians, or those who attempt to interpret the polls, will present those arguments. My view is that if you're leading by 3%, you lead by 3%. That's it. The job of the opposition, of the administration, or those who trailing in the poll, is to try to play catch up. So let's look at the developmental issues, and let's build our conversation around that. Does the JLP deserve a third term? If you think so, let me hear your comment, and let's discuss why. And let's not bother with the name calling and the cuss out and the whatever, right? We want to promote intelligent discourse, right? And what we want to do is, if the JLP are your side and you want to back them, let's talk about why you back them. May I wait on the cards, right? If you don't feel that, if you are on the other side, but we know not the cussing and the name calling, right? And may I open the floor to that kind of discourse. You can, if you're on Facebook, put in your argument. Feel free as well to call into the program, right? We welcome the participation. You can reach us 954-274-8177. Right? What are your thoughts? Let's look at some key topics. Education. Where are we? Are we where we want to be? How has the current administration, demonstrated its commitment to educating our population? My philosophy is, one of the best way to transform Jamaica is through you know, deepening the investment in educating our Jamaican population. And so, you know, having said that, where do you see the current administration in respect of how it has impacted in a positive way the educational outcomes of the people of the country? Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at another plus point that I'm pretty sure the supporters of the administration is going to claim, and that is the the crime situation, right? Um, let's talk about how what the administration has done to in respect of crime. You know, are we having the successes that we can beat with chest about? Is it sufficient? You know, let's talk about that as well. And then um, we want to take a look at, you know, some of the other positives, tourism, and the growth in the economy. Want to also, let me see if I can reach out to our consul general. You know, just to get his own feel to, you know, to with respect to where we are with this thing. In the meantime, let me touch another little piece of another little promo on the book.
The spectre of extortion had risen across the island, and Montego Bay was no exception, as rival gangs in the island's west end competed for a share of the spoils. It had become clear that retail establishments were easy pickings, particularly at the members of the Chinese community, who hardly ever reported their experiences to the police. The outfit that controlled these activities on this side of the city was the Treadlight Crew, a gang led by Garfield Brooks, also known as Blacker Shine, a 22-year-old youth who was wanted by the police on robbery and firearms charges. The Treadlight Crew were demanding a monthly payment of 25,000 Jamaican dollars. Sheila, desperate to keep the project moving forward, had reluctantly agreed, but her compliance only furthered their greed. Within weeks, the demands were increased to 50,000 Jamaican dollars, and when Sheila hesitated, they made their point clear in the most brutal way.
All right, so there you got a little piece of another little pointer here. My current book, Sheila 2.0, Unbroken. Trying to reach out to our Consul General, Oliver Mayer, to, you know, get his input on, you know, some of this stuff going on in Jamaica. Oliver, as our Consul General, is a man who has served the community with distinction, and wanna just take a quick reach out to him, bring him onto the program to articulate some of these issues. Let me see if we can get him on the phone here, and we're gonna ask Oliver to share. Now, Oliver has been a Consul General of Jamaica here in South Florida for at least the last almost 5 years. Damn, it's a long time. And let me see if we can bring him onto the program to share with us as we think. Let's bring this up here. Hello? I don't know what's going on here. All right. We're working on that. Just trying to get, let's see here. All right. Well, we try to get Oliver. Again, we invite you to call in to the program and just let's get some conversations going as we take a look at your own thoughts as to where we are in Jamaica and how can we make stuff better, right? We take a look at how we can bring those, get the conversations that think I'm just bring this thing together here. Okay, here we go. As one, as a PP, PP, time come, choose Jamaica, vote JLP. But PP, tell me why, man. Me why you share. It's not just that we want to we wanna we wanna have a discussion. Why? What are your recommendations? If you believe that this is the direction that we should go, what are your thoughts? What? Why should we give the JLP a third term? Don't just tell me say it's time. Come on, we're bigger than that, right? So let's let me in the meantime try again to reach out to Consul General Mayor. What's going on with this thing? Yep. PP said low crime, no new taxes. Come with more than that, PP. Me want listen. We are encourage the conversation now. We always complain, so we don't have the kind of discussion that we think. So let's go better than that. But that's two good points. Low crime rate. Is it that the crime rate low, or is it that there's a case where the crimes are not being reported? Eh? CG. Yes, I'm hearing a CG. Let me pull this up. How you do? Welcome to the program. Yeah? I'm good. Well, listen. We first of all, this is your live on the Jamaica Mix, and we want to use an opportunity. Jamaica is on the cusp of a new round of national elections. Thank God we at the peaceful stage where we're not, killing anybody again like in the old days. And we want to continue these kind of discourse that will allow people to, to go out there and vote. You, as the country's representative here, has done a phenomenal job representing us in the diaspora. Your thoughts as Jamaicans head towards the polls. What are your thoughts, CG?
Well, I would first of all just like to celebrate our very strong democracy in Jamaica. And the fact that ultimately all people decide the government of the day, and I encourage persons to exercise that right that we have as to decide. And we must respect the will of the people. Whoever leads the country, we must respect that person must be our prime minister, our government. And so, first of all, I encourage us. Second thing, I say Jamaica has an excellent track record of democracy. In 2016, one of the closest elections of all times, the government was decided by one seat, and at least 10 seats were 100 votes and less. And there was a peaceful transfer of power, and that speaks to the strong democracy of our country. The other thing I would say is that whoever leads post-election, I believe, will have a strong platform on which to stand. I mean, we just saw the numbers come out from Statistical Institute. We are back to growth, albeit moderate 1.1% quarterly growth. But I believe we would be very happy, all Jamaicans, home and abroad, would be happy to see them here. Our homicide rate is now down by 45%, and that is always something that every Jamaican should be proud about, and we can boast about to the world. And rape is down. General crime statistics are also down as well. We see the debt to GDP going from 149% to
62%.
62%. And it's good that a lot of Jamaicans are know these numbers. More Jamaicans know these numbers as well, because it's things we should be proud of. Our unemployment rate at 3.6%, the lowest ever in our country's history. So these are just a few metrics that our interest rates being stable, inflation within target, or NIR at the highest level it has been in years, and our credit worthiness has been moving up. We're almost at investment grade, which would mean that when we offer securities to the world, we're able to attract a much lower interest rate in terms of that we don't have to get a premium to borrow funds. So we see persons having confidence. We see the IMF touting us as a poster child of the world and the region certainly. And so Jamaica is definitely moving in the right direction. And so we must hold whoever wins the election. We must hold them account, because this is a good platform on which to lead. And all of us have to be proud of it. It's a collective action, and we look forward to people deciding, or Jamaicans deciding with confidence, exercising our democratic right, and working with whichever government has been elected. So those are my thoughts at this stage.
CG, first again, let me again just I express my appreciation for you taking the time out of your holiday here in America, in South Florida, well, across the United States, U.S. Independence Day, that you would spend a couple of minutes with us just to share your thoughts on these developments in Jamaica, because you are correct. Country has progressed over, certainly, if we can criticize the administration based on the issues that we have get with them. But it's difficult to say that there hasn't been any progress, right? And so you made the point, people must go out and go vote. Don't take for granted and don't participate. Don't participate as part of our, universal suffrage. You have the right to vote, go out and go vote. But from the diaspora standpoint, CG, how can the diaspora help in respect of maintaining the levels that we want to see the participation and peacefulness in our political process? How can the diaspora help in that respect?
I would say, here's my perspective. I believe the diaspora should always try to be pro Jamaica as opposed to pro political party, right? Easier said than done. But we must see ourselves as ambassadors of the good news taking place in our country. We must share that because every time we have a tourist visitor arrival, it helps the economy. It helps our brothers and sisters back home. Hotel rooms, our hotel workers, our farmers. We see agriculture rebounding by 3.1%, based on Statistical Institute. So we must see ourselves as always promoting Jamaica, the good news coming out of Jamaica. Let us get into less critical. It's important that we be critical.
CG, I couldn't.
Because we are playing on an international platform where we are in an environment where most of the persons around us are from other countries, and they will listen to us and be influenced by what we say or do, and they may make their travel arrangements or their investment decisions just by conversations we have around the table. And so let us always be mindful of that responsibility as we represent our country, because we all want our country to continue to progress, and we must be excited, even if it is that we must always be excited by good news happening with our country, even as we're critical of other areas. Let us be excited and let us join in. I've had, we just came back from Jamaica where we led team of 25 persons from South Florida came down. We adopted a 6th clinic now in the community, just off of one of the projects or 5K. And persons were able to go and interact with persons from the community, were able to give out medical equipment, interact with the nurses, let them feel good. And the region has adopted 16 clinics now, the most in the world as from a region. And the diaspora was a part of that. They are there working together. And the persons, when they came down, they said, OICG, we have a different level of appreciation now for our role, the contributions we can make, and how we can help our people to advance. And that is the sort of spirit we want every Jamaican up here to take with them, that they can make a difference. By their individual efforts, they can make a difference in the Jamaica we would like to see tomorrow. Let us not ostracize somebody because they have a different political opinion from us. Let us not get into this thing where we're going to go public and lambast a leader because they are not from a political party that we are associated with. No, we must treat all our leaders with respect. Yes, we can hold them to account. But let's not get into this grandstand where we chat anything about any leader and want to call them any name that come to mind. And no, we must have a certain national pride that allows us to be respectful of those we have elected to govern us, regardless of the political side. And today we salute the 2 political parties. We thank them for their contributions over the years. All our prime ministers have made significant contributions. And whichever party is successful, we know at the end of the day, that will be the party that we respect, and that will form government, the party that we ultimately all of us have to rally behind. But I say to us here in the diaspora, Let us support Jamaica. Let us share the good news taking place in Jamaica, because this is one of the strongest periods we have seen for many years. And we must be the ambassadors of good news to the world.
CG, listen, it's today's a holiday on this side. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts with us. You are indeed an ambassador for all the way as Jamaica. You know, regardless of what anybody else wants to say, you continue to serve this community with distinction. I want to echo your sentiments that regardless of which of the two political gangs you support, the reality is that we are all one, the same thing, Jamaicans. And what we need to do is look at what is in the best interest of Jamaica, not just my interest or your interest, but the best interest of the majority of Jamaicans. And when the politicking is done, the contest is over, we, regardless of who win, we come together under the black, green, and gold and drive forward with in terms of our, as we work towards developing our country. Thanks again, my brethren. Any parting words?
No, I want to wish, of course, we're here in the United States. You know, it's the 4th of July. You know, so I want to just share my sentiments to the community in that regard. And for those taking any time off, enjoy your break. And yeah, it's good to I will say this. During my time here as Consul General since 2018, Richard, I can go on a record as telling you, the Jamaican diaspora has served and has supported me 110% here. You will never have everybody in your corner, but I can tell you, I have had immense support from day one and continue to today. And people have always jumped around to support the work of the consulate. And during my tenure here, I have so many people to thank for their ongoing support. And it has just been one of the best periods that I have had personally in life. This has allowed me to see what support and love for Jamaica looks like. I have seen a whole picture of the diaspora that many people have not been able to get that viewpoint and that vantage point, covering 38 states where Jamaicans come out in their black, green, and gold all the time and say, CG, how can we help? How can we support? And I just want to say thank you to the community for everything.
You know what that said to those, CG? You have done something that a lot of people have maybe tried, but you have been very successful at it. And that is to bridge that gap, that divide that exists between one side of the politics and the next. Because for I would, you know, as a man in the diaspora, I will say on behalf of, you know, people I'm comfortable with and work with in the diaspora, that we don't really see you from a political standpoint. We see you as a Jamaica representative. And that is why when you make a call that you need something done and you want whatever, you get that level of support because people love and respect the work that you're doing. And I would challenge, you know, the people in the political process on the other side to probably take a page out of your book, because that is what Jamaica is all about. And my friend, I again want to salute. Happy independence, you know, you on the American shores here. Happy American independence to you and your family. And we look forward to continuing the journey.
And let me do a parting shot on you to Richard Blackford. You know what I do this, but I'll do this. You are not afraid to call it on both sides. And I have to give you full regard for that. You call it where you see it. You have consistently put Jamaica at the forefront. You don't take a political side. You look out for what's best in Jamaica. Yes, you talk your mind, and some people may not always like how you do it. But I appreciate the fact that you're honest. You don't do it based on a political color. You do it for what's based on what you think is best but Jamaica land we love. And that has to be commended. And you're going to pick up the phone and will call and say, here is a suggestion, here is something that can improve the country. And we have to respect that. And that is truly, we can't ask for more than that from our members of our Jamaican diaspora. So big up to you, Richard. And to your listeners, big up to you. Know that the concert is here to serve. We have 13 states. You can always reach out. I have many people reach out to me individually for advice, support. We're going through a time when many people are fearful, but we always have faith over fear. And I believe that even in situations that may appear to be negative, there are opportunities lurking many times. It's a mindset that we bring to a situation that will make the difference. Let us be inspired by our heroes, including Marcus Mosiah Garvey, whose philosophy I believe, especially when it comes to issues of the mind, should be carefully studied and applied on a daily basis. One love to everybody.
Big respect, CG. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we catch up. All right?
Thank you. Yes, man.
All right. So that was Consul General Oliver Mayer, a friend, a soldier, as far as his stewardship of his office as the Consul General is concerned, and a man who, for him, it's about Jamaica. And, I just wish that those of us who in the political realm, those Jamaicans, whether regardless of a political stripe, would have take a page out of Oliver Mayer's, approach, because he is the quintessential representative of all Jamaicans, regardless of your stripe. Just want to wish him continued success. So, I see PP over there on the YouTube channel showing down his thing. And nothing wrong with that, PP, as he said. Let me just read some of the comments that he made. He said, lowest unemployment rate. I hear you, PP. I think, though, while the unemployment rates are what the statin and the statistical people are putting out there, you can't argue with that. Under 3%, but keep in mind that there are some 780,000 Jamaicans who are not represented in the labor statistics for different reasons. They have decided that they now look no work, not for them, or them now work for the monkey money that is being handed. You talk about most new fire stations, reduction in GCT, increase in minimum wage, $500 increase, $1,000 increase in the minimum wage. All right, it's that increase, but it's not a lot. The minimum wages was 15,000 Jamaican dollars. Overall, you're talking about $60,000 a month. Using a 4-week month as the yardstick. The 60,000 Jamaican dollars translates to less than $400 a month. That's not really anything to scoff at or to beat your chest on. But as you say, a little increase. Free house for the needy. Boy, I drink the Kool-Aid with PP. Increase in the tax threshold. But we need for the people out there who don't have this information, PP, would I like, what is the increase in the tax threshold? Increase from what to what? And tell the people them, especially remember, it's people all over the world that follow this program. So you wanna post your information. But I appreciate that. You went on further. Most water projects implemented in the history of Jamaica. Boy, I don't know if I agree with you. That removal of fees in public hospitals, tourism workers pension plan, Morant Bay Town Center being built, that may agree with you on. People. We have a philosophy that says the biggest thing that happened to Morant Bay since them hang Paul Bogue is the building of that center. So yeah, there are some pluses. These are, as you say, pension program for elderly currently without a pension, Art Trust free up, and even has a program that pays your stipend while training. All right. Again, I ask for people to put their thoughts out there. These are the reasons. And as PP said, for these reasons, him though him said time come to choose Jamaica and to vote JLP. And these are the reasons. And you can't argue with PP when it comes to that. Let me hear the people who disagree with you now post your argument. Because I ask you to give me some pointers, no matter whether or not I agree with them, right? What is important is that from the perspective of one who this is your party, these are the basis that you figure that the party should get a third term. And I can't argue with you on that. It's not that's not what I'm here for. I want to hear what the thoughts are. And so you have made your case. What is the view of others out there? PP, if it's necessary, invite some of your friends and for come on the program too. This is not a PNP or a JLP program. This is a program to put your thoughts and your ideas out there. So bring them come. The space is not enough for me to type all the achievements. I'm in Florida just waiting on the date to buy me ticket. Lord, man, that's how you go on, but invite some of the other people to come and talk. Because this is what we want. We too often people who have man out there cost the government or cost the opposition. Let us move away from that and have real dialogue. And I raised it, you answered my questions, boss, and I can't argue with you on that. The important thing is that you are making the case, and so on the basis of that, you believe that you believe that the current administration should be allowed to continue because they have done the work. Now, let me just before we move away from that, again, this program is brought to you under the auspices of my current book, Unbroken, Sheila 2.0. And let me just point out that I do have a number of books out there. There is the top rankings, the chronicles of the origin of Jamaican badness, as well as the original Sheila, the girl from the lane, and of course there is Unbroken, Sheila 2.0. And I'm encouraging you, go to my website or go to Amazon.com. My website is yardmedia.com and pick up a copy of this book. A great story. If you love a Jamaican feel-good story, a story that is inspirational as well as informative, this is a story that you want to grab a hold of, right? Also, want to encourage you as well to check out some of the items that we have on our website. There is our reggae hoodies, and these come in different colors, different designs, black, red, white, and gold. And these are available now, among some other items that include a whole range of art prints on canvas, which makes good decorations. Again, we're going to be doing these programs throughout the next couple of weeks as we head into election, and want to encourage the participation. It's one thing that people just shoot off their mouth. Let us have good discussion. Let's talk about issues. Let us, contrast what is being done. If the other side want to win, how are you going to do better? than the current administration. And let us, at the same time, while we encourage the discussion, let us have them respectfully. Again, I'll share with you another little snippet of the girl from of my book, Sheila 2.0, Unbroken.
The spectre of extortion had risen across.
Ruggs was a tall and broad-shouldered, dreadlocked youth who originated from the Rockfort area of Kingston, Jamaica, with dark, piercing, calculating eyes. He wore a leather jacket over a crisp white shirt, his hands tucked casually into his pockets. He looked like a man who belonged in a boardroom, not a hospital, but Fidel knew better. The man named Ruggs was as dangerous as they came. Fidel, Ruggs said, his voice smooth and calm, like a snake coiling before it struck. You've been busy. Fidel swallowed hard, his throat dry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen, he croaked, his voice weak. I was just trying to survive. Ruggs tilted his head, his expression unreadable. Survival is a funny thing. Sometimes it means making deals with the devil. Sometimes it means running. But you? You opened a box you shouldn't have touched. And now, here we are. Fidel's heart monitor beeped faster, the sound echoing in the quiet room. I'll tell you everything, he said quickly, his voice desperate. The Mexicans, the drugs, Isabel, I'll give you whatever you want, just don't kill me. Ruggs smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Kill you? Fidel, you're worth more to us alive. For now. But let me make one thing clear. You're on thin ice. One wrong move and you'll wish the Mexicans had gotten to you first.
There of the book Unbroken, Sheila 2.0. Just wanna big up Nicholas, who put those snippets together. And let me give you one more.
Scala insisted that his father often referred to him as a scalawag, which was a fancy name for a rascal or a thief. He felt that since his father had christened him as such, he had every right to own the name and simply shortened it for ease of pronunciation. By becoming a career criminal, he was simply living up to the name and his father's expectations of him. Scala was 15 years old when his father's body was found at the back of the Coronation Market in Kingston with multiple stab wounds. He was pronounced dead on the scene, and no one was ever charged for his murder. Scala ran away from home a year later and hooked up with Big George, who ran the Patrick City Crew, a gang of 9 youngsters. It was here in the early 1980s that Scala encountered Tony Campbell. Scala at that time was a car thief with surprisingly high driving skills. His ability to navigate Kingston's narrow roads and to find the back streets when it was necessary to evade police made him invaluable. Over time, he had earned respect for his loyalty and cool-headedness under pressure. It was this level-headedness that allowed them to escape from the calamitous robbery scene that fateful morning more than a decade earlier.
Snippet of from my current novel, recently released, Unbroken, Sheila the 2.0, and again, this is available on our website, yardmedia.com. It's also available on Amazon.com, and it's available in Kindle as well. So, we invite you to go support these products that we have on offer. There is a nice little collection of art as well. Just to give you a little taste, these are prints on canvas. Of course, this piece here is celebrating where our track and field prowess come from, and these are canvas prints 12 by 16 inches. They are stretched and ready to fit into your little corner of the world. Again, a couple additional prints, all 16 inches by 12 inches. And here we go. This one is called I Believe I Can Fly. So, again, we do this every week, and we're going to be continuing these presentations of this program right up until election. This is the Jamaica Mix, and of course, our program today brought to you by my current book, Unbroken Sheila 2.0, and you can pick up copies of this at Amazon.com. You can pick it up on our website at yardmedia.com, or just simply send me a text message, and we will get you a signed or autographed copy for your reading pleasure. That's all the time we have for today. It has been a good exchange thus far. Want to thank the people who have participated. Also want to thank Consul General Mayor, who has taken the time to come out and share with us as we take a look at what's going on in Jamaica. So until next week, enjoy the rest of what's left of your day. Those of you here in the United States, happy independence. Enjoy your weekend, and we look forward to sharing with you again in the coming week. Bless up.